All right, so juicy topic, boundaries. What boundary means to you? I would love if you could put just one word. And I could start. For me, boundaries means my own rules. That's more than one word, but you get what I'm saying. So if you could share what you're thinking of when you hear boundaries. Self-care, wonderful. We have space, wonderful. Non-negotiables, all right, Carolyn. And guess what? They're all good and they're all perfect and they're all allowed. So as we all know by now, we've been talking and learning and implementing and studying and observing as much as we could so far about boundaries. And I would like to drag your attention to different areas and different places where we get to put the boundaries. Approval. Wonderful. That's a beautiful spin on things. Karen, thank you. I'm totally writing all this down. Okay, so boundaries, and I would like to look in a few areas, and feel free to add more that applies to you. Because when we are called to set a boundary, is because the energy is off. It's because we don't feel good about it. It could be as simple as that. If I'm sitting here and wonder like which area in my life I need to create a boundary, will be around something or someone that makes me put me into uncomfortable place, right? So then from here, let's dive in and see what boundary looks like around people. So we have boundary around people, and we touched on a little bit yesterday when we talk about relationships and toxic relationships, right? We do have the power and the right to distance ourselves from people that don't bring a good energy in our life or in our space. And that being said, also we could look at the boundaries around space. It's when we decide how our living space looks like, how our desk look like, what we allowed, what we not allowed on it, right? We're going to non-negotiables and we're going to the approval, right? And again, in connection with people and relationships, it's like there is a space. Like this is as far as you could come, or close as you could come towards me. Depends of every person and depends of every relationship, right? Like, okay, so my mind goes into a weird space, and I'm just gonna share that because it's coming out for a reason. We don't know why. But if you are in a committed relationship and then you go and you cheat on your partner, for example, right? It's breaking some boundaries. Boundaries around space, around people, around emotions, around commitments. It's breaking a lot of boundaries. So that's why everybody that's involved in that situation are gonna be into an unsettled energy, right? Okay, so a boundary around people. What is one boundary that you are called to set or been in the past, if any, around people? And then we are looking at let me see, I make a lot of notes about this. This is such a complex and big topic, and I just want to show you that we're going to touch on this as we go through the next topics, because it's pretty much in everything that we do and we decide, there is a boundary there. Even if it's obvious or not, there is a boundary there. We make a rule, right? We have Phil commenting, I have a hard boundary around talking about politics. Beautiful. Beautiful. Same here. boundaries for professionalism. I want to make sure that I understand you, Nikki. Is it something like, so what I'm getting from what you're saying is a separate professional life by personal life, or how we behave in a professional space? If you don't mind to just elaborate a little bit on that, please. Since my office is at home, I have to set boundaries around being disturbed while I'm working. Yes, absolutely. Same here. Yes, both. Okay, Nikki. Great. Thank you. Yes, so boundaries about working space, right, at home. Most of us here, we work from home. And yes, like this is my office. I have a thing on the door, do not disturb. And it's very important. When we set boundaries around our workspace, when we work from home, right, is it a good thing? It is a bad thing? Are people upset about it? Are they learning from it? Where are we? Toxin, I don't interact with them and I love it. Yes, Karen, exactly. Same here. I personally did not talk with my sister in a very long time. I still get to love her even though we don't have a relationship and we don't talk anymore as it is today. There is that boundary. We all have those toxic people that we keep them away. We respect what they are. And especially when we have children, and I see that with my kid, like we are not stepping into the energy like, oh, don't bother me because I'm recording or I'm in a coaching call or whatever, so I'm going to put a sign on the door. It's actually show them that you have the opportunity to respect my time and my space. And guess what? He's doing the same. When he's recording or something, he's just putting a sign on his door, so then we know to don't knock on the door and don't disturb. Most of us, or I should say most of you, grow up in a culture when you are taught how to be nice and kind. I did not grow up like that. I grew up in a communism with no love and support, so we are not necessarily taught how to be nice and kind. But like in American culture in particular, it's like everybody's nice and kind and be nice with people, and there is all this very good saying of don't say anything if you don't have something nice to say and all that. And when it's all you do, it's very easy to don't learn how to set boundaries. And then you see people, they're nice and kind, and other people, they're more bold, stepping over them. So, and here's the thing, that you might not like hearing this, but I just invite you to just sit with it for a minute. In order to create a boundary, and more than that, to hold that boundary, is required to do the inner work to know exactly who we are and what our preferences are. I hope that makes sense. So when you really get to know yourself and you know what your preferences are, there is a huge step from there to voice that, to bring that out to people. And really tell them, this is what I like or this is what I do not like, right? Because I think what Caroline mentioned, non-negotiable. In general, most of the time, when we set a boundary, there is no explanations or justifications required. It's pretty much close to, demand. Maybe demand is a hard word. But you see what I'm saying. It's like, this is it. Like, do not knock on my door when the sign is up that I'm, in a meeting. Like, busy, do not knock. That's it. There is no explanation needed. My voice used to shake when I say the boundary. Yes, exactly. And this is really good, Phil. Thank you for sharing that. because it's showing that, like, why am I shaky about it? I know that this is my truth. I know that this is what I want. I'm even taking the courage and everything that it's take to let the other person know, and yet I'm shaky. So that it's a beautiful invitation for you to look inside your soul and see what else is there that doesn't allow you to fully own that. And that's exactly what I meant earlier when I said, in order to come out with boundaries, we need to know exactly what our preferences are. And in order to hold on our boundaries, we really need to know who we really are. So they are all connected, because we are talking about people, boundaries around people and around space and personal space or workspace, right? And then the environment, pretty much. And then we go deeper. We go into boundaries around the words, boundaries around emotions, boundaries around feelings. Yes, that's what we do. It's okay to have boundaries around the word. First time when I heard that, I really, really resonate. And it's crazy because I'm a talker and I love to talk. But yet there is time in a day when I don't want to talk. Most of the time I really appear impatient with, like, okay, speed it up, or this was too much of the explanation, right? And it's my way of setting a boundary that those are too many words. Like, keep it simple. Right? So for me, in this particular example, is for me to learn how to set that boundary in a way that is not affecting the other person, and I don't come across being rude, and really make it clear that I need to protect myself around that. And especially in the end of the day, if I have a full day with 7-8 meetings, it's like I can't even speak anymore. I can't find my words. And if I force myself into it without even knowing, I'm just throwing Romanian words in the middle of the sentence, and I'm like, okay, this is it. My brain is just like smooshing everything together, and I should just stop talking. Right? So boundaries around the word. And when we say that, it's also the way that people talk to us. If they use language that it's hurting, or we find it inappropriate, to just set a boundary around that. Which is the same thing that we do when we deal with bullies, right? Like, do not speak with me like this. Like, you don't get to say that to me, or whatever the situation is. And that, from right here really close, like the words in our mouth, it's going even deeper, and we get to explore the boundaries around our emotions and feelings, right? And that ties into the triggers that we're gonna jump on. I don't know when. I will have to move them up, because we keep talking about triggers, and probably it's time to go deeper into that. So what I mean by that is, there is people, words, circumstances, situations that make you feel uncomfortable or sad or whatever make you feel. And then it's called for a boundary around that emotion. Think about a situation when you knew that you are called to set a boundary around emotions. And I don't want you to describe the whole situation, but just if you could just confirm, yes, I've been through that experience. Here's the thing with that. Whatever you are feeling always matter. It's always important, always matter, and you are correct about it. So when in a conversation about that makes me feel like this, and then the current the usually reaction is the other person is like, oh, but I've been doing this, and they just justify themselves and whatever, and they find the excuse. But it's when you set a boundary and you say, no, this is how I feel. And how I feel has nothing to do with your reasons why you tell me this or you did this. So it's setting a boundary around the feelings and allowing to feel. Because in that moment, it's all it is. It's nothing else. The next step is going into where the feeling is coming from and what I've been triggered about it, and then listen to the other person, why they say that, and so on and so on. But in a moment when you feel betrayed, when you feel put down, or whatever you feel, it's required to put a boundary there and let the other person, because this is what happened. You not only do it for you to protect yourself, you're doing it for the other person as well, to let them know that their words, their actions, their behavior, it's affecting you. And they don't know if you don't tell them. So boundaries are a healthy thing. A boundary is, and especially in a relationship, in any relationship, doesn't matter if it's your partner or your mom or your sister or your friend or your colleague. Like, boundaries are important in order to learn how to dance together, and whatever that dance is, right? I need to let you know what I like, what I don't like. You need to let me know what you like and you don't like. I let you know what I could do and I cannot. You do the same thing, and this is how we dance, and this is how we grow together. And it's from a place of honesty. It's from a place of vulnerability, and it is from a place of love. Because what are the better expression of love to the other person than being fully honest, telling them who you are, what you like, what you don't like, how their words, actions, behavior are impacting you, and what other better way of let the other person know that you actually care. So the question is, do you see setting boundaries as an expression of love? So if you agree with this, even with a tiny, tiny little part of you, I want to invite you to tap into that part every time that you are called, and when something feel off, when something feel off, out of integrity, out of being in a good space, at peace, and whatever that is, I just want you to tap into that part that believes that, okay, I'm called to set a boundary, and I believe that by doing that, it's an expression of love. And it's not just for me to conserve my energy, my happiness, my feelings, my being. It's for benefit of the other person as well. A must. I love that. If we cannot be honest, then we are not being our true self, and how we love one another. Love it. Going back to this goes back to the beginning of this conversation, that in order to come out with a boundary, we need to know ourselves, and in order to keep that boundary strong, we need to know exactly who we are and honor that, right? Okay, so let's go a little bit. This is gonna go a few minutes over, but I want to quick touch on boundaries around time, space, calendar. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. And the time, and when we put the boundaries around time, is again how much time I give to this person, how much time I put into this particular task, how much time I make myself available for this, right? And just really tune in and see that that's what you really want. And if not, you just get to put a boundary around it. You get to decide for yourself and make your own rules, for sure. I know this was a lot, and I also know that it's so much more to it. But the bottom line is that it doesn't even matter what your brain is telling you and what your knowledge and your intelligence is telling you. It's really tuning deeply into what your body tells you. That your body is the judge. Your body is the one that is gonna let you know. When you are in front of the person that makes you feel uncomfortable, you don't think like, oh, this person makes me feel uncomfortable. You feel it in your body. Your mouth goes dry, or you feel choked, or you feel your stomach tight, whatever you feel. It's just to be aware. When this situation come out and it's just like, ugh, your body is gonna let you know, like, you don't like that. Don't go there, right? So I really want to invite you to just make a note. You could go back to today or to this week, or as long as you want, and just make a note, a couple situation to find out an example for you when it's like, oh, this is how my body let me know that I have a need for a boundary around that person, around time, around my calendar, in my space, at work, with my words, with anything. So all the situation that, all the areas that we talk, I want you to, this is the homework and it sounds like a big one, to find one example and really write down, this is how my body let me know. And if you could, to go even a little bit deeper and answer the question, where did I feel that in my body? Was it in my throat? Was it in my head? Did I have a punch in my stomach? Where was that manifested in your body? And it is a practice, because we open up the conversation, we are aware about it, we have all the smart intelligence explanation from every single angle possible. We could talk about this for hours, right? But then the next step is to actually allow it to drop it into our body. And as we already know, and probably just listening to this, you kind of know like, oh, that makes me feel like this, or I felt it there, or whatever. Just drop even a little bit deeper. And it's a practice as we aware of it, and then we start practicing it. And every time when we remember, we don't have to do it every time, but every time when we remember, just make a note about it. Because the bottom line is, your body will let you know where do you need a boundary, and even what that boundary need to be. And we go back to the foundational piece, that your body is leading, and your brain is there just to back up your body. Remember the copy paste concept? Let's take the day one when we say dream about where you want to be, because that's what you want, and then do what you need to do. So when you dream about it's in your body, you have the sensation, the feelings, the experience, and now you use your brain to back you up. So to sum it all, talking about boundaries, allow your body to tell you where your boundaries are needed, and use your brain to come up with that boundary. I hope this is helpful, because this principle alone, you could copy paste it in anything, every area, every situation. I know it's been a lot and I keep repeating that, and I also know there is so much more to it, but with every topic that we go, because it's just gonna all connect with each other, of course. We try to take it in pieces and look at them individual, but they're all connected. That's it. It's all we have for today. Thank you so much. I love you all. Please go and listen to your body, and I'm gonna invite you like yesterday when we're done here, just take 2 minutes, allow everything that you need to take from this video to sink in, and what you do not need and you do not remember, allow it to just disappear. It was not meant for you at this point, and allow that to be the truth. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.